built from scratch: the capital, the port, and the mission, unlocking the early eras of Washington, D.C., New Orleans, and San Antonio through compromise, riverbanks, and frontiers. Washington, D.C., 1790. Importance: the permanent seat of federal power, designed to embody Republican ideals. Story: the city was born from a political compromise in 1790 between Alexander Hamilton, who wanted the federal government to assume state Revolutionary War debts, and James Madison and Thomas Jefferson, who wanted a Southern capital. Maryland and Virginia ceded land to create a federal district on the Potomac River, though Virginia's portion was retroceded in 1847. George Washington personally oversaw the project, hiring French engineer Pierre-Charles L'Enfant, who designed a grand Baroque layout of diagonal avenues overlaid on a grid, featuring symbolic public spaces like the National Mall. The city remained underdeveloped for decades. Early congressmen often complained it was a muddy, unfinished wilderness. Much of the early construction, including the Capitol and White House, was built using enslaved African American labor. During the War of 1812, British forces invaded and burned both buildings in 1814, a humbling test for the young nation, from which First Lady Dolly Madison famously saved a portrait of George Washington. Rebuilt slowly over the 19th century, D.C. lacked representation in Congress until the 23rd Amendment was passed in 1961. And today, its unique status as a federal district set apart from local state politics remains a point of intense constitutional debate. New Orleans, Louisiana, 1718-1803 purchase. Importance: the strategic gateway to the American interior and a crucible of cultural amalgamation. Story: founded in 1718 by French explorer Jean-Baptiste Le Moyne de Bienville on high ground along the bend of the Mississippi River, the city was named after the French Duke of Orleans. It was ceded to Spain in 1763, which is why the iconic French Quarter architecture is actually distinctly Spanish, built of stucco and brick after massive fires in 1788 and 1794 destroyed the original wooden French structures. Napoleon secretly reclaimed it in 1000, but after losing control of Haiti to a successful slave rebellion and facing impending war with Britain, he sold the entire Louisiana territory to the U.S. in 1803 for $15 million, doubling the size of the country. During the War of 1812, General Andrew Jackson famously defeated a vastly superior British force at the Battle of New Orleans. Ironically, the battle was fought 2 weeks after the Treaty of Ghent had been signed to end the war, but news had not yet reached the armies. Economically, it became the nation's largest slave market, devastating millions of families, while simultaneously serving as the cultural incubator for Black resilience. In Congo Square, enslaved people were permitted to gather on Sundays to play African drums and dance, planting the seeds for what would eventually evolve into jazz. San Antonio, Texas, 1718. Importance: a symbol of Texan independence, westward expansion, and cross-cultural frontier history. Story: established in 1718 as the Mission San Antonio de Valero, later secularized and nicknamed the Alamo, and the Presidio San Antonio de Bejar, the settlement was created by Spanish Franciscans to convert local Coahuiltecan Native Americans. For over a century, it was a vital hub of Spanish colonial expansion. By the 1830s, Mexico had gained independence, but tensions boiled over when Mexican President Santa Anna centralized power and abolished the federal constitution. The 1836 Battle of the Alamo was not just Americans versus Mexicans. The defenders were a diverse group of Anglo-Texan immigrants, Tejanos, Texans of Hispanic descent like Juan Seguin, and European adventurers, including famed frontiersmen Davy Crockett and Jim Bowie. They held out for 13 days against roughly 3,000 Mexican troops before being slaughtered. Santa Anna's brutal treatment of the bodies and the survivors, combined with the rallying cry, "Remember the Alamo," turned public opinion. Just weeks later, General Sam Houston used the anger to motivate his army, capturing Santa Anna at the Battle of San Jacinto to secure Texas independence. Long after it joined the U.S. in 1845, San Antonio evolved from a frontier military outpost into the starting point of the Chisholm Trail, driving the 19th century cattle boom, and later became a major hub for the U.S. military during World War I and II.